I was just dreaming, I was just sleeping and I dreamt, I'm at this place, but I don't know. But, they don't actually show it as clearly as you are here. But it's more like they are just two people doing something like a TV thing. Because, older people with TV, and there are these people doing this TV thing, and you're wearing your ibai. But it kind of showed it as if, like, with them, it's more like it's a famous thing or something. And then she called me the following day and then talking about the interview. I'm like, oh, but I had a dream about the two people who are doing something like TV. So they showed it as TV. So if it's a TV, that something is being recorded or someone is being watched. Yeah. Okay, I am Neo Nkomo yaselwandle, umapeja kamtungamire Uluyanda Muhlumi. That's who I am. Oh, okay. The closing names, you get them when you go to initiation, and before you get into, you actually get them while you are at initiation school. So how you get them is that there's a drum they play, and then the name pops up. It can come out in like you get things from nature. It can be a plant. They tell you it can be a plant or an animal. That's how you get the name. Yes. Yes, but I was raised in Botshabelo. I was born there and raised there by a single mom. I went to a primary school called Hohle Primary School, and then high school I attended Sechaba Sebagezi. And then I have an elder sister, an older one. She's older than me, and yeah, it's just the three of us. I was never raised by my dad, so I basically don't actually know him. So yes. I used to have a lot of resentment towards him while growing up as a child. But when I was a little bit older, I did forgive him, for being an absent father. So I eventually did forgive him for that. Yes. Oh, it took me a while. I think it took me when I was 25 before I could forgive him. Going to initiation school made me forgive him because his side of the family is actually the reason why I actually went to initiation school. So my grandmother, the one that I do not know, is the one who gave me the gift. So the gift is from his side of the family. So he had to do certain ceremonies before I could actually go into initiation school. But then, once you get into the initiation school, one thing we are taught there is forgiveness. So you have to forgive before, everything else, before you heal. You actually heal when you go to initiation school. So that's the point whereby I had to forgive him for that. Yeah. Yes, definitely. There are a lot of things because, growing up with a single mother is very difficult. So one thing that she teaches you is to always be respectful and humble all the time. And when you encounter, certain trials and tribulations, she always taught us that, sometimes things will be hard in life, but, you always need to be, patient with certain things. You need to work hard and you need to be respectful and humble all the time. So those are certain elements, and morals also, like the whole moral thing is what actually made me who I am today. Being a strong mother, raising 2 single kids, also that showed that, in life you're not supposed to just give up. You have to work hard to be where you are. Also, prayer was also one of the things whereby, it was my stronghold my entire life also. So those are some of the elements. And abantu abadala vele, the Dlozi people are who I am today. Yes. I am a religious person. Before I went to initiations, or before I found out that, you know what, I have the gift, we used to go to your normal church. You know, my grandmother used to wake us up. We attended a Methodist church. So basically we grew up in that church. So I am a religious person because I grew up with prayer most of the time, going to church, understanding who God is before going to initiation. But it's not different even when you go to initiation school. It's still the same thing. It's just that, you know, with us as Sangomas, we align. It's the same thing. So you believe in God, and even with the ancestors, this is still like the same thing. There's nothing different about it. Yeah. We don't pray to ancestors. We communicate with them, and we call that ukphahla. So ukphahla is you light up impepho, and then if you're a person who uses candles, also candles must also be there. You know, so ukphahla is to communicate with your ancestors, so that the hierarchy begins whereby there's God, you know, and then we have ancestors. So when you phahla to ancestors, you communicate with them so that they can communicate to the above people or to God. So that's how the hierarchy begins. There's God, and then we have the ancestors. But we do not pray to ancestors. We communicate with them so that they communicate your message to the higher people. Prayer is when you pray to God. You specify, you say God. And then ukphahla is to communicate to the ancestors. Yeah. My dream for the future is to, in terms of the spiritual world, because it's what you are gifted in. So it's to heal people. We have what we call amathwasana. So amathwasana is the kits that are given to you so that you can help them to become, you know, the future Sangomas. So that's where my future in terms of the spiritual world right now is to help as many people, you know, to heal. It's all about healing, you know, it's all about helping people, you know, to fulfill their own journeys. Amathwasana is people who are called to you so that they can come to your initiation school, so that you can help them, and then they become, you know, Sangomas also, or they fulfill the gift. No, it differs. People who go to initiation school, we go there for different types of reasons. While some of them, it's when you go to initiation school, it's because the person who was supposed to fulfill the gift did not fulfill it. So when you are called into the gift, it means you are going to fulfill that particular person's gift. But it does not necessarily mean you are going to have amathwasana. You can find that, no, we just want this person to, you know, fulfill this the something that was meant to be fulfilled. And then after that, they don't work. You know, you find them, they don't have patience. They don't have, you know, they just fulfilled it. But some, especially maybe if you were from a royal family, when you go into initiation school and maybe the umkhulu or ugogo was an inyanga before, then, and she was, you know, helping people. It means that when you go into the initiation school and fulfill that, means you are going to work with patients. And patients are different. There are people who, they are different because there are people who work with, you know, children only. You know, there are those who work with elder people only, or maybe, you know, youth, some young. Yeah, so it differs there. Yes, I would be known as someone who works with amathwasana but still helping other people. You don't just get amathwasana only, but it's like you you specify, you specifically you are doing this. No, not all sangomas do that. Yes, I specialize in Amat, but I get Amat Twasana. They will have to know you, in dreams. They will have to have that type of vision about you. So, but while you are still working, you specialize. Me, I specialize with like young people, older people, but not like babies. There is a Sangoma who works specifically with babies only, but does not work with elder people or young people. So, yeah. Oh, okay. I had dreams. So you have dreams and certain symptoms that you get, but mostly it was dreams. You dream of water. Most of the time I was dreaming of water. And you dream of the sheets, we call them amabai. So you dream of amabai. You dream of the beads also. You get different types of beads in the dream. So that's how I knew that was called. So you get dreams. You dream of water, you dream of amabai and the beads. The body, the physical, you feel something in the body, like certain pains that will not go away. Even if you take, 10 painkillers, it wouldn't go away. So you walk barefoot also. You have these, I don't know what they call it. What do they call it? I know there's a salve they use. It's kroko. So you have those, and then you walk barefoot also. But most of the time, when you get called, it's all about dreams. Water, some people don't dream of water; they just dream of amabai and the beads. When you keep dreaming of the same, you don't just dream it one time. You keep having dreams, and there's a lot of things that happen to you. With me, it was that I got very sick physically. Like I say, that you have like a shoulder pain, or your leg has got a problem, but you don't understand what those dreams are about, because with my mother, we were never really people who believed in sangomas or anything that is spiritual. We lived like everybody who was normal. We never thought that there was witchcraft. We wouldn't think that, we would hear about it, but we didn't believe in the whole thing, because we didn't think that there would be people who would be doing witchcraft or a sangoma. Because sangomas, if you look back at history, there were most people would say that they are witches, and they were not taken seriously because they are doing bad things. So growing up with a mother who was, a Christian, she's a Christian woman, she did not think that, there could be anything wrong. So what happened is, while I was still in varsities, I would write an exam, but when I was supposed to get my results, they wouldn't, I wouldn't get the results. The results would go missing. And then you'd ask, but this person wrote an exam. How can a paper go missing when they wrote an exam? And you struggle in life when you have the gift. I struggled, I think, before getting a permanent job. I used to have like temporary jobs. And you'd find that, and a job there would be a vacancy open, but you wouldn't get the job, but you've been working there for so long, and then you're wondering, but why? And then you get physically sick. You are moody most of the time. When you have the gift, you are a very moody person. You always want to be isolated, and you just really do not want to be around a lot of people. So there was one time when my mother and my neighbor, I got into a car accident. I think I had about, how many car accidents? Maybe 3 or 4 car accidents. And then someone was saying to my mother, why don't you take, your child to a sangoma? But because my mother never believed in sangomas, she was like, no, we don't believe in that. This is normal things. She's young, accidents do happen. But up until whereby when I graduated, I struggled getting a job, like a permanent job. I was doing temporary jobs. And then one day, then she took an idea to take me to a Sangoma. So when we got there, he checked everything else. So the first thing that was supposed to be done was my ceremony from my dad's side, the traditional ceremony from my dad's side. That needed to be done. So that the ancestors from that side, so that they know me and who I am. And yeah, I had to go and do that. Things were better after, but they were not really better because of the gift, because of the calling. They were still not better. But even still, my mother could not believe that, no, you don't have a calling. You are just, you're just going through something. Then she will take me to a doctor to get like anxiety pills, because there's a lot that happens. You get shortness of breath, you have cramps here. So a lot happens physically and emotionally also. No, he actually told me that I need to do a ceremony. My father needs to do a ceremony for me to accept me in his family. But he never mentioned anything about, me having the gift. How I went a couple of few times because of the dreams. The dreams were very disturbing. So I would go there, and then that's when I started dreaming about the beads. Because the beads, when you dream about the beads, it means you need to, if you dream about white, it means you need to get a white bead. So it begins with steps. So you need to, if you have the bead, you buy the bead, you take it back to him. He blesses the beads in whatever way that he will bless the beads. Then you put the beads in. So it's steps. It's not just one thing. It goes into the steps. Yes. If you dream of Amabai, you have to go buy Amabai, and then he also blesses the sheet, and then it begins like that.
Can you stop it?
Okay. How because it was steps and you dream of everything, but how I knew that really I was called was when one day I went to another Sangoma, and then we did what we call ukfemba. Ukfemba is you communicate, that particular person communicating with your ancestors, because you cannot do ukfemba. That person who's trained to do ukfemba is the one that communicates with your ancestors. So ancestors appear in that person, so in spirit, and then when that ancestor appears in that person in spirit, you communicate with them. You talk to your own ancestor to say, okay, what am I supposed to do? What is it that I'm supposed to do now? And then they will tell you that, okay, it's time for you to go and to initiation school. That's how I found out. My grandmother appeared in spirit, and she's actually the one who gave me the gift. Because I didn't know her, I had to trace back, her journey, only to find out that she was a Sangoma before, but she did not finish, her journey. She only did what we call ubunguni. That's what she did. We have abanguni. We also have abandao. So abanguni, it's people that we have lived with here that we know. But abandao, it's people that we don't know. Maybe you had a great-great-grandmother or great-great-grandfather, but you don't know that particular person. So you have to go, and initiate. In abandao, it's people who are from the water. It's the water people. And abanguni, it's people that we lived with. We've known them. They stayed with us. Yes, that's how. Okay, let me just maybe detail it. So abanguni are people who bagida. We call them ukgida. They dance a lot with their feet. And then abandao, we say that bayazamula. So they are from the water signs. They use only the knees. And Abba prophet or prophets, it's people who work with water a lot and they pray with candles only. You know, they have candles and then they work with water a lot. And they wear, you know, different types of sheets also. Even Abanguni have their own different types of sheets. Even Abandao have their own different types of sheets. Me, I have all of them. Yes, all three of them. Okay, Abanguni, it's a gift that my mother or my grandmother already initiated. So Abanguni, it's people who work with bones. We call it taola. So Abanguni, they work like that. And then Abandao, along with, you know, Sprofito. Those are the water people, meaning they work with water. The spirit is with it. It's there by the water, meaning you only find them. You initiate Abandao at the water, meaning you get baptized there. And then Abanguni, you have to slaughter a goat, and then you drink the blood. So that's how you initiate Abanguni. You buy Gita and they use, you know, taola, what we call the bones, you know, and then Abandao, you go to the water to get baptized there along with this prophet. And then this prophet is because it works with water and candles a lot. And then we have what we call Lirelatipi. I don't know how to translate that in English. Lirelatipi, I think in the Bible it's used as a prayer. You are given to, they give it to you. So when we say you have Lirelatipi, it means you can fight with prayer. So when you pray, you know, that's your prayer, it's your weapon to fight everything else. So you use that, all three of them, because you are given. Because even with Lirelatipi, you have to dream. Not all Sangomas have Lirelatipi, because some you can't get all three of them. So when you are given Lirelatipi, it means now they are telling you can fight with prayer. You can now, you know, put your candles there and pray, just pray, and everything else, you know, it's sorted there. Because, you know, when you look back all, you know, the ancestors of people, there are certain people who ran away from those things. So I'm actually the first in, you know, on the side of my mother. I'm actually the first Sangoma ever in that line. But with my dad's side, I have a lot of siblings and cousins who are Sangomas on that side. Yeah. Oh, I use impebo. I light up impebo and I use a snuff, you know. So when I communicate with them, I light up impebo. And there's also candles, but sometimes you use them, sometimes you don't. But I light up impebo and you use a snuff, and then pasha, we call it, you know, you communicate with them that way. Yeah. Impebo, it has been used a long time ago. It's not a tree, but it's sort of like a grass that you find at the mountains. So it's an essence, actually. It's been used for many, many, many years by, you know, our African people. And that's how, you know, you communicate with people that have passed on. So you light it up, and then the essence come. It you know, the smoke comes up, and then you pasha. Okay, when you talk to them, you hear their response in your dreams with visions. So when you pasha and you talk to them, then they will respond with the visions in your dreams. Yeah. Well, I have another aspect in my glossy, which is my guardian angel. So we called a guardian angel Ingwenza. You know, we have a lot of, you know, spiritual people around that actually fight for you sometimes. So my guardian angel, I call it Ingwenza. It's a sheet that I use, that I sleep on. So that's one. And then another spiritual, which that one, I don't think I can mention it, but it's from the water sign. Yeah, it could come within a space of time. It doesn't come, the same night. Because when they communicate with you, when something is happening with your life, there's a lot of things that they communicate with you about. So even if maybe I went that day and told them about this specific thing, they can come back maybe after a couple of days, because maybe they are dealing with something at that time that's happening with your life. Yeah. So it's also a spiritual person from the water that also fights, your battles. But you also need to fight back. So we use umuti most of the time. We use umuti. So we have, umuti, the one that, takes away all the bad stuff. And then we have umuti, the one is for luck. So we use a whole different types of umuti. Yes, initiation school, it depends on how fast your dlozi is, or how quick they want you to get there. So you go to initiation school, sometimes it takes a year. Some people go for 6 months. Some people go for 3 months, depending on what you are going there for. If you're going to do abanguni and abandao, it means it was probably going to take you 6 months to a year to be there. And it also depends on finances also, because it's a school. So they differ. With us in Pande, the Mpande that I'm from, you pay a cow close to 8,000. Depends. It's expensive. Some Pandes are much lesser and some are actually expensive. So you pay something like 8,000 for a cow, which goes to the person who's going to initiate you. That person, you call him or her Igobela. So Igobela is your teacher who's going to teach you how, to finish your journey. Yes. No, you don't take someone to initiation school. The families, you take your own food, you buy your own food, you eat your own food, you cook for yourself. You are taught things such as Uganda. Uganda, it's called, when you, what do you do? Like doing umuti, like that's what we call Uganda. That's what you are taught. You are taught how to ugida, to dance, also at school. You are taught how to cook your own food. You are taught how to, sweep the whole yard. So that's basically what you do there. You are not allowed to eat certain types of food, especially meat. You're not allowed. You are actually allowed to eat vegetables only, and no protein, no fish, no cheese. Those are the things you don't eat. No, it's only at the school, because when you get into the school, you are told that this is not what you're supposed to eat, and those things are going to be given to you by your gobela when you are done. There's a ritual that we do after, to say, okay, now I am giving you this food, you can eat this after school. Yeah. Oh, the day when you go, you must have your own. We don't sleep in beds, so you have to buy a mattress. You have to have your own, blankets. It's just a simple, mattress. It's not actually comfortable. So you're not supposed to be comfortable when you are there. It's just the way it is. Yes, you're not supposed to be, So when here you are, you're taking your blankets, your mattress. So the first thing you do when you go into school, they play the drum. We call it ukshayela. So ukshayela, it's to show that, okay, here is, ugogo, and then you get your first name on that day. Ukshayela, they do like umqomboti, and then it's not really a ceremony, it's just umqomboti, then ukshayela. and you get your first name, and you get dressed into your own uniform that you get there. Yeah. Yes, the Gobela is the one who gives you your own uniform, because Impande, they're different. You can find Impande whereby they wear green and white, but ours you wear, red. When you get there, you wear red for Abanguni. It means you're going to practice for Abanguni first. And then there's a stage where we call the ceremony Intwaso. Intwaso is whereby you are graduating from Abanguni, then moving to the next stage, which is Abandao. That's where we wear all white. Yeah. It's all about the line from way back. If you had like Mazulu or Xhosa people, or if your own person, like my grandmother, she was from Impande or the Zulu Mpande. So sometimes it's not even about whether it's Sotho or whether it's Xhosa. If you have to fulfill the journey, it doesn't really, because the Sotho Mpande you find it mostly in Gwagwa or Lesotho. That's when they say Lesedi Khana. So mostly even in Sotho, when you go and fulfill the journey, especially by Prophet household, they are the ones that use Lesedi Khana, because it's mostly about Prophet. So with Sangomas, because we are working with bones, because we are Gida, it's mostly from the Zulu Mbande most of the time. Yeah.
What's Gida in Sotho?
Gida is to dance with your feet. That's the Sotho.
Like you're asking, it's all Xhosa or Zulu words, and I'm sure if you initiate as Kompandenya Mosotho, they will use Sotho words, I guess. I've never thought about it actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With school, especially school initiation schools, mostly that are in Sotho, or Mpandes that are in Sotho. Most people that initiate there are mostly prophets. It's when you want to become prophet, or your gift only, it's prophets. So it doesn't involve beads, because a person who is going to initiation school of Sporfeto does not wear beads most of the time, because they have their own things that they do there, and then we also have our own things that we do here. Yeah. You can go to any. I think it's all about referrals. If maybe someone, if they maybe once went to a Sangoma, and then you want to go to a Sangoma, she'll be like, okay, there's a person I know who works like this and this. Then they will refer you to that particular person. Yeah. There's really not a lot of things that will stand out, except for the homecoming, when you are supposed to go home. Because remember, in initiation school, there's a lot of things that are happening there that you can't even tell your own family what's happening there. So what stood out for me was just me getting home, going back home, because now there's really a lot that happens at initiation school that we cannot actually disclose, but yeah, there's a lot. It's a lot. But what stood out for me was the fact that I'm going home and this is final, I'm done. I can go home and sleep in my king-size bed, and that's it. That's all I... Oh, but those are like general things. Like you are taught how to, use bones. If you're a Sangoma, that actually remember, they are given to you. If you are going to be a person who uses taula, like bones, then you go to Mpande, whereby you are taught how to use bones. You are taught how to mix umuti, like, okay, this muti does this one does this, how to heal a person this kind of way. So those are the things that people, but certain things we can't actually Yeah, talk about them. But yeah, those are the things that happen. And I think you meant it was about the goat, someone hiding. Yes, we call it infihlo. Infihlo, the reason we take something, it can be an item. It can be ishoba. We go hide ishoba. Then the person who's, the, what do you call it, the learner or the person who's initiating must use the gift, because we want to see, it happens because we want to see whether really do you have the gift. So you must go and find, the stuff that is hidden. So we call it infihlo. So infihlo, it's all about, we want to see, Gogo, are you really saying that you have the gift or not? So you must go and find it. So if you really have amadlozi, they will tell you where the gift is. So that's why we do that. Because Gogo might say, I have the gift, but hey, then we don't, No, sometimes you find that some of them leave because of finances. They can't pay, some of the things that happen there. Like there are certain things we must buy, like amakansi, miseme, I don't know how to say it in English. Museme. You have to buy those things, but most of them leave because of the things that happen there. They leave because of the things that happen. You find that Ugobela is probably not treating, Amathwasana right. And that's probably one of the reasons why the person would leave, because they are not treated right. And when you go to initiation school, you are not, it's not slavery. You are there to fulfill your own gift. So you find that some of them, when they are there, it's like, now I'm a slave. I'm treated very bad. Sometimes the drum is playing around 3 a.m. and you must wake up. It's playing at 3 a.m. and now you must wake up, go sweep, wash, whatever. But those are the things you are not there for. What you are there for is to fulfill your own gift. You're not there to be a slave. So those are some of the things they might leave. Some, they do get beaten. So those are some of the things that might make them leave, because at the end of the day, you might find that this person is saying, I'm actually not here to get help. I'm being mistreated now, so that's why one would leave. No, it doesn't mean that you don't trust. When ancestors show you your gobela, the gobela already knows that I'm going to have this particular person here. So when you get there are certain things that gobela do that are not okay. Some of them, you might find that, okay, this gobela can see that this person's gift is more powerful, or this person is gifted a lot, then they will try to close that. So that's why when they try to close that, you find that Uthwasana is going to struggle inside the initiation school, because now if you close the person's gift, they cannot see anything. They can't see what's happening. So if you close that part of them, it means they're going to struggle around. Everything is going to fall apart. Then eventually that particular person will leave. Then they'll just have to go and find another one. And that's another financial expense. Again, they have to buy a cow again, a goat again, to go to heal again, to find healing again. Oh yes, I can share that. Yes, one was that there was a goat I slaughtered, and then the horns. We were supposed to actually keep the horns safe, but because now people are everywhere, the other horn got missing. So I don't know where it went, but then we were just like, but it's just a horn, And one day, when I opened Indumba, so Indumba is the place where Abogogo and Abomkuli stay. So one day when I opened up in Indumba, I think it was after 8 months or maybe like 9 months now. I was looking for the horn, but I couldn't find. But everyone was like, "It's just the horn." Maybe they had taken it and put it somewhere with the trash bin. So one day when I opened Indumba, I found the horn inside Indumba, but I didn't know how, it got there. So I kept asking with the bones, how did the horn? Because now, with us people about this, there's a lot of things that happen, especially with witchcraft and someone trying to do something. I'm thinking maybe someone put this thing here by mistake, or hey, the witch maybe was just flying this time, to put the horn, only to find out that Umkul, my grandfather, is the one who actually put the horn in Indumba, and that was, I couldn't believe it. So though that one was very shocking, I think I avoided Indumba for about 3 days because of that type of. But a big miracle was when I got into an accident when I was 14 years, and I was living with a boat, a female nail, for about 17 years, and the doctor told me that I'm gonna live with, the female nail for the rest of my life. It's not gonna happen, if I take it out, the bone, or maybe I'll be disabled. So I went to make an appointment the other time to take out the female nail, and the doctor was like, "No, we can take that out." But I'm like, "No, it's not possible," because I was told that I was gonna live with, and I wouldn't be able to walk like normally again. So I had the appointment, and they took out the female nail, and I am able to walk normally now. So those are some of the miracles that I could, or maybe some shocking yala, but hey, the ones that are like taking you back, or how did the horn get in here? But that miracle for me was the biggest miracle ever. Taking out the female nail and still being able to walk again normally, because I was told it was never going to happen. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I haven't seen any white person who is a Sangoma, but I want to believe yes, because let's say maybe you are adopted, right? And then if maybe a black family adopted a white person, and then they slaughtered or did a ceremony for that white person to introduce them to their ancestors. I do believe that a white person can become a Sangoma, because if a white person grew up in a black family, and then there was a ceremony done for that particular person, then yes, a white person would become a Sangoma. I think you can, because it's all about the spiritual communication up there. We have there are black people who are actually mediums, who actually can communicate directly. Actually, the ancestor comes directly to them to tell you about your things. But you when you get into Indumba, especially when we use bones, a white person, if you come, and it's all because it's about surnames at the end of the day. Your name and your surname. Give me your name and your surname, and then you look at the bones and you communicate with that particular person through the bones in terms of what their ancestors are saying about them. Yes. So it's sort of like you knock on the door, and then you open the door, and then you get the answers that you want to get. Oh, okay. Yes, you can only do consultations in Indumba. The significance of Indumba, it's a place where Abogogo Nomkulu, they have to stay. We call it a holy place. It's a holy place. That's why even when you walk into Indumba, you have to take out your shoes, because it's regarded, even in the Bible, it's regarded as a holy place. It's a place of worship. It's a place where you communicate. So the significance of it is that they have to stay. It's like a habitat. They have to stay somewhere. You know, you have to build Indumba because they have to stay there. It's their own spiritual world. It's where everything else stay. Your drums, your umuti has to stay there. It's a place of practicing, you know, you being a doctor. It's sort of like opening, you know, a practice. It's a practice like your normal GP who opens a practice and works there. So it's something like that. When a patient comes into my Indumba, because I use bones, so the first thing I do is to invite their ancestors by, you know, lighting up impep to say, okay, here is, you know, whoever is here, you know, and so when you light up impep, you invite their ancestors so that you can get, you know, messages from their ancestors. But you get messages from their ancestors through your ancestors. So, okay, because with sangomas, especially this is a female male. Obviously, you can't go to a sangoma and then take that out. They don't have the tools or the machines to. So, you have to find a Western doctor to take out, you know. But for sicknesses such as maybe, you know, you have pimples and you don't know why you have pimples, and maybe you've tried a lot of cream to try and see if your skin is okay or not, and if maybe that cream is not working, someone says go to a sangoma. You know, there are medicines that we use, you know, to help you out with your, you know, the skin rash. Yes, you know, I think most people resort to sangomas as the last option, because people nowadays are very modernized. So everything that people do, it's all about, you know, going to see, you know, the Western doctor first. And if that doesn't work, then maybe let me go to a sangoma, you know. But, you know, traditional healers and sangomas we've been using herbs, and we've been using a lot of traditional medicine for a very long time. So back then in the African culture, you knew if you had maybe a wound, someone would use something just, you know, to rub you here and then but yeah, they are used. We are used as, you know, the last resort. You know, it's Western medicine first, and then after it's us. Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of things that I fear about my lifestyle, based on the spiritual world or just in general. Yeah, I fear there's a lot of things that happen around. So definitely you fear a lot of things, mostly because, one, you know, I'm actually homosexual. So sometimes people don't understand how can you be homosexual and be a sangoma. You understand? They're like, but how? Or did you just get into initiation and then you came out as, you know, lesbian or something? But there's a lot of things that one fears most of the time, especially in terms of my sexuality also, because now a person would look at you and be like, oh, but when you say you are something about you are a lesbian. I don't know if I'm answering it in the correct way, but I do fear a lot because of this, especially spiritual attacks. We have a lot of spiritual attacks. So that also is one of the things that most of the time you fear all the time. The spiritual attacks, you know, the witchcraft, you know, that's always happening mostly all the time. Constantly, actually. I don't know if I answered it correctly. You know, being a bad sangoma is using umuti to harm somebody else. Now that is a bad sangoma. Is to use umuti to say, I want that person's life to be ruined. Then you know that you are a bad sangoma. Because now if you use muti to harm somebody else, then it means you are a bad sangoma, and that's what we call witchcraft in itself. Or when you're a bad Sangoma, it's someone who comes to you and says, I want this type of muti to go and use it for somebody else. And that is a bad Sangoma. It's not a good Sangoma. A good Sangoma is someone who takes the muti and uses the muti for, a good purpose. How I work is that, whenever my patients come to me and then they ask for help, you firstly need to ask, what kind of help is it that you need? Oh, I'm struggling with a job. I can't get a job. Then I give you a muti that's going to give you, a job. Or I have, these spiritual attacks, or someone is using muti against me, and then you give that person the muti to protect themselves. Not to say you are using this muti to go and use it to that particular person. No, you give the person umuti to protect themselves, so that when that particular person uses the muti against this one, then the person knows that I am always, protected all the time. Yeah. Yes, you have to use a certain type of muti to always, protect yourself all the time. So, because there's a lot of spiritual attacks that happen, so every time, all the time, a person needs to protect themselves. It's not saying, I'm using this muti so that it goes back to you. No, I'm using it to, to protect myself. So from what you are doing. Yes, we are taught about the good and the bad at initiation school. That's why we practice medicine a lot at initiation school. That's why you have to know each particular medicine. It does this. This one does this. So we are really taught about the good and the bad, and you can tell when a gobela is not doing, a good thing with that muti. So if I use this like this, if I use this type of way of doing things, then that, okay, now this one this is war. We are fighting now. But if you are using this type of muti, that, okay, now we are creating peace. The thing about Sangomas and people, or how we were taught, but even after, you also need to teach yourself, certain things. The thing about Sangoma is that we don't fight. We are not allowed to fight. Sangoma ga ala in Sesotho. It means we don't fight anyone. You don't go fighting anyone. All the time, what you must always try to do is to create, the peace or harmony in what you do. So we are not taught to fight people. You can't take umuto and then be like, yeah, today is the day, this one is going to get it. No, we don't do that. You are taught, if someone is doing something bad to you, don't go and do the same thing. Don't do bad. You always need to be doing the good. So that's why you protect yourself from those things, yes. Back to sender is when someone is using umuti against you, and then there's umuti that we use to send whatever that person send back to them. Yes. So it's sort of like, okay, this person sent this thing, but it must go back to where it comes from, because it's not mine, it's yours, so it must go back to you. So there's a certain ritual that is done, that's what we call back to sender. It's something, it's also part of you protecting yourself from whatever that particular person is doing. It has nothing, it's not a bad thing. So it's a bad thing if now it's in the witchcraft way. If now you are taking the muti and saying, yeah, okay, I'm also going to do that thing that's different from, just cleansing or just bathing. There are different types of way we use when it comes to back to sender. A back to sender can be someone who uses the muti and then you bath with it. It's all about protection, but you're also using a specific muti there. That's a back to sender, so that these things can go to that person. Then how a back to sender maybe sometimes becomes a witchcraft is when this person is sending whatever is sending, and you go do a ritual. Now it's different now. It means now back to sender is wrong, and we call it a witchcraft now. It's no longer a good back to sender like that. Oh, no, I'm actually homosexual. So, yes, I identify as a lesbian. Yes, since from birth, I've been, a lesbian since then, and it hasn't really affected my spiritual world that much, but in a way that older people are always saying we want grandchildren. So, that in itself, it was more like, how are you going to give us, grandchildren? How are we going? But with the latest technology, I was like, yes, you will get the grandkids, yeah. But it hasn't really affected my spiritual, journey in any way. I think, they had accepted me, the way that I am, because they knew. It's not like they don't know, they know that this person is this way. The only thing that they just really wanted was to fulfill, the gift, and that was it. It had nothing to do what you do, or what you do. It's not like ancestors are not really much into earthly things or what happens to the world. They don't really invest much time in that, because they're from the spiritual world. So all you have to do is just to always, uphidise moya all the time. That's it. So what you do, really, they don't really, put much, effort or concern in anything that you do. Yes. Spiritual people don't get into relationships easily, because you have to be aligned with that person, and the mindset must be the same. So I don't communicate with them about relationships, because I always feel like they are like, we are not concerned about that. We have already told you that we are not. But they choose who you should date. Spiritual people, we have soulmates which are chosen for us. So I actually have, a male soulmate. I have a male soulmate, So because of the type of person I am, it's not the fact that we don't like the fact that you are like this. So actually, I'm supposed to be married to, a guy who is a Sangoma. And we have, because they believe in with my people, they believe that since our line of, ancestry of our line, we are from a royal family. Our line is from a royal family. So because you are a Sangoma, the legacy must continue. So I actually have a husband somewhere, who is a Sangoma. So whom supposed to give me kids, and we take the line of, of Ubunyanga. The legacy needs to continue. So you need to have kids for the legacy to keep continuing. So the way my lifestyle is a lifestyle of, I'm a lesbian, and honestly, that's how I live. So it becomes difficult to actually get into a relationship. It's difficult, even if you are a straight person or heterosexual person. It's difficult to be in a relationship with a Sangoma if you are not a spiritual person, because you might find that I'm a spiritual person and you are not. That's where we clash. So our relationship is not gonna work, because you don't believe in what I believe in, and I also don't understand how you believe in. So in terms of relationships, it's not easy to actually get into relationships. Because it is with elder people, it's what they desire or what they want to see, because they are old people. So old people, there's always been about a man must be with a woman. That's how they know it. Those are old people. This is the line we went with. So they will say, this is new, but we are trying to understand. So I told them, children, they will get children. Technology nowadays is very, we use technology nowadays. So they will get those children. But in terms of the husband, I I don't know about him, but yeah, I'm hoping for a wife. I'm hoping they look for a wife. Yeah. Oh, me being a lesbian, my mother is, I wouldn't say she's homophobic. I think she just needs time to understand. But I did come out to her. But then, with parents, especially black parents, that was never done. They've never seen, that way back. They were, brought up knowing a man has to be with a woman. So there's no women and women or men and men. But then again, she's accepting it, but she doesn't understand it. But it's taking her time to actually get to a point where I'm like, I understand, okay, you are like this. And my sister is very supportive. She's a very supportive person. She supports me in everything. She understands, and she has fully, given, me the support that I need each and every single time. So she really understands that, okay, this is who you are, then I'll support you in that. How me being a Sangoma has my relationship with my mother, it's very difficult. She is supportive in certain elements, like maybe when you have to do a ceremony, she will support you in that. But you can't say to her, let's go and pasha. Then she'll be like, no, that's, I don't think she understands it, because she has never really understood why I should go to initiation school and I should do this. But then again, she's also supportive in terms of maybe if you want, impepo, she will buy it. If you want amabai, she will do it. But certain things, honestly, she struggles with understanding, the spiritual world. Yes. My sister is very supportive. My sister is very lovely. She understands it. She gets it. So yeah, she also comes, for consultations here and then, just to check herself and see if she was like, can I come and check myself to see if I'm still okay? And then she will come, and yeah, she comes and gets cleansing most of the time, uses umut, so yeah. No, it's not the fact that she didn't have the gift. She has the gift, but because we grew up not knowing what this gift is, so she did have some dreams way back, but then again, suddenly they faded away up when she got, the baby. So when she had, Gamoso, and the gift suddenly was not bothering her anymore. So but the gift actually went to the youngest now. She's got like 2 daughters. So the gift went to the youngest. So it's both, it's both from my sister's side and from the dad's side, because their dad is actually called Xhosa. So Xhosa people, from his, clan, they hadn't really done the spiritual things. So my youngest niece has that gift now. Yeah. Yes, I'm actually a teacher. Yes, I teach at the primary school. So yes, that's what I do. It does affect, because I work from 7 up until 3. So sometimes you find that I'm tired. So maybe during the week I don't have time to go and to pasha sometimes. So also sometimes after work there are patients that are waiting for you, and you have to go and help the patients while you are still tired. But mostly it affects just a little bit, but not much. Even your colleagues, when you work with them, you see something about someone, and then now you must say something, but you actually cannot say anything, because no, people, when you start showing that you are a Sangoma, they're like, okay, this one is going to see our secrets, because you see a lot of things. So you can't actually go to that particular person and say, oh, but I see that you have this. So yeah. Well, with people from work, you have to keep it to yourself. But I think with someone, because when it glows, we say that it dawns, when it rises, or when it looks at something. Maybe you're walking into a mall and you see this particular person, and it just starts saying something about that particular person. You have to tell that person that, okay, I see this and this and this about you. But you have to say it's the way, because that's what you were, chosen. That's your thing that you must do. But with people from work, you can't say anything to them, because now they're going to say, okay, now this one is a witch, or now Neo's doing this and this. So you can, some you keep it to yourself, some you tell them. Okay, with mine, it's if you get something like an anxiety, then they're trying to tell you something about that particular person, But sometimes, even when you just walk and you can see this person and you can see what they're going through. So you just have to go and tell them. But mostly it's when you get that anxiety or something maybe that scares you, that you have to talk to that person about something else. Yeah. It comes to you. You have to allow whatever it is that you are going to say to that person. You must allow it and see it. And then and after that, you can ask the person, oh, are you agreeing with what I'm saying, or is maybe I misinterpreted something? Yeah. No, it's not easy to make friends with a gift. It's not easy, because you see Tebogo sitting there and you're thinking, she's going to be a friend of mine. Then you start telling Tebogo, oh, I see this and this and this and this and this about you. And some people do not like that. So then that person will be like, but I don't want a friend who is, the Sangoma. Or, it's not easy to make friends. Most of the time, you always need to hide yourself from certain things. You can't make friends easily, because sometimes it does not want you to make friends with that particular person, because they don't understand, that person. So it's not that easy. Yes. One, we are not allowed to walk late at night. And you always need to ask permission for everything that you do. If maybe you are going somewhere, you have to ask permission or report to say, okay, I'm going somewhere. You are not a lot of restrictions, just things that you are not actually allowed to do. A Sangoma cannot be drunk during the day. You can't walk there with amabaya, then you are drunk and you are, so those things are not allowed. We are not really sexual people. You're not allowed to have, multiple partners. So you can't be sleeping around with different types of, because you're going to catch different types of spirits. So that one is also restricted. Alcohol, no, they don't restrict you from alcohol. They are alcohol people. They drink alcohol. Certain foods, after initiation, they don't restrict you, but mostly it's pork. Pork, no, not a lot of people, not a lot of Sangomas eat pork, certain foods, such things. So yeah, pork, it's, we don't, if you eat it, maybe it's here, but some totally, they don't eat pork at all, because of the way it makes them feel. It means that particular Dlozi does not like, that type of meat. Yes, they live through. It's like you everything that you do. It's like you are ruled by them. So everything that you do, they control almost your entire life. They control your job. They control your life. They you live with them, they live within you inside. So that's why certain things you're not allowed to do them, because you live with them, they live within you inside. So not like inside, but yes. So that's why certain things you are not allowed to do. So, and idlozi must always be pure in everything that you do. Everything must be pure, it must be clean. Even Indumba must always be clean. Like you must be pure as a person. I think being a Sangoma, it's not something you can make up. It's a gift, and you need to be chosen for the gift. So if we have like a lot of Sangomas now, and some people are saying it's becoming a fashion and what. Then again, we have to look back into our own, ancestry or days. Black people back in the days, there weren't really a lot of Sangomas then. There were a few of them, because our people did not want to go to initiation school. You find that a lot of spirits were left behind. So a lot of spirits, people did not work for those spirits. That's why if my sister does not go to initiation school, that spirit is left with the children. If maybe Lutando does not go to initiation school and Lutando has kids, so I wouldn't say it's a fashion. I just think that there are certain things that were left behind that needed to now be fulfilled. We have an 8-year-old, a kid who goes to initiation schools. So you can't say this, child who's 8 years is making up, the gift. You can only truly know that a person is a Sangoma or a person has the gift when they go to initiation school and actually do what we call imfihlo. That's why I'm saying imfihlo in initiation school is very important, because now this is where we get to know exactly that you do have the gift truly, because imfihlo is whereby things are hidden, for you, and you, idlozi, must go and find them. Yes. Like, that's what I'm saying, like with initiation school, a lot of things happen. So you might find, but a true person who has idlozi, or who has the gift, a person who truly has amadlozi and amadlozi, they're powerful, or they have that power. Even if Ugobela can do something, that Gobela will not succeed. In Fihlo, you will always find it, because it is your gift, it is given to you. Even if Gobela could say, I'm gonna close everything of yours, but if you have a true Amadlozi, you are going to find that gift, regardless of whether Gobela try to, close your mind or what. Because you are not there alone. You are there with your ancestors, the people that you went there for. So even if that person can do anything, but if you have true, the gift is true and is pure, and the Amadlozi are that powerful, that Gobela won't be able to do anything. In Fihlo, you will find it. My purpose in life, and I think I'm going to relate it to the two occupations. Being a teacher was a calling. Being a teacher was a calling, and the purpose for that was to teach young minds, to build them into being, to reach for their dreams and to build futures, bright futures, and also to heal people in terms of my, as a Sangoma, to heal people. And I think that is my purpose, and that is what I am actually living and manifesting each and every single day. So that, I would say, it's definitely a purpose for me. Yeah. I think fulfilled, the least fulfilled was when I was still, sick, and you going into initiation made me to be fulfilled. I don't think each and every single day as a Sangoma, you don't, when you use words such as happy, we don't have words that are happy or fulfilled, because we are always, you know, we always try to help people and fight certain things. So, but I think the most fulfilled, when I'm fulfilled, is when I'm in my Indumba, when I'm happy, when I'm in my Indumba with my, you know, with my people there. I'm mostly fulfilled and happy. When I'm least, I think it's when I don't go there. Then I know then there's a problem. So, but using words happy, you get happy today, then tomorrow it's a different, you know, thing. So, but the most fulfilled is when I'm happy. Is when I'm in my Indumba. Yes, that's my happy place. That's where I feel, you know, everything, the peace, the tranquility, happiness. So when I'm there, yeah. Yeah, because we are regarded as people who do bad things most of the time. I think people say we are witches, what we practice is witchcraft, you know, but it's not always about that. That's what I'm saying. We are different as Sangomas. So you have to, and it's rare to find a good Sangoma, because now people, when they see us, it's all about, I'll say, uses muti and does bad things, but they are actually really good Sangomas, but we are rare, you know. Good Sangomas are rare. You can't find them anywhere. If you find a good Sangoma, you know that, okay, this person, I'm going to stick with this person. So I think that's what we are painted as most of the time, you know. So we are really, some of us are just really trying to, you know, make people understand that not all of us are like that. Not all of us practice bad motive or practice bad things. Most of us are here to heal people. You know, we are here to help people, because when you help someone, you help them so that their lives can be better, and that's why we some of us are chosen for that. So we help people, you know. We try by all means to help a person so that their lives become better. Yeah. Wow. Just that, you know what, I feel like people should honestly really look at us. They shouldn't stereotype us. We are not all like that. You know, some of us really, when it comes to the spiritual world, or when it comes to the gift, we are here to help. You know, we are here to make sure that, you know, people's lives are better. You know, you cannot be given a gift and then you don't know how to use it, or to use it in a bad way. It's the same thing that I said, that a person who's genuinely gifted, you can't tell them, but a person who's genuinely gifted, you know, they are here to help, to heal, and people must not honestly, I said it previously, to say they mustn't stereotype us. We are not all like that. If you find a bad Sangoma, don't think that all Sangomas are bad. We don't practice bad mood. We are not all, you know, witches, or we fly or what. No, we are not like that. Really, honestly, some of us are here to fulfill what, you know, God's plan or ancestors are. We are actually, I want a word for it, but I'd use the word soldiers, you know, because I feel like God has given different roles to different people. We have people who pray at church, who serve God in that kind of way, and then we have us as Sangomas who also serve God in that kind of way. We actually worship one person, so not all of us really are like that. So I think, yeah, that's all I could say. Tacos.